Today is Wednesday, the 15th October 2025. I am Emmanuel Nyakemomo. Front page airs every weekday at 11 a.m. where we review and analyze the biggest stories, reports, and events from major local tabloids across the country. Joining me in the studio to help break down the headlines and offer insights into what's making the news, I have with me lawyer Abdul Karim Kamara. He's, among other things, he's political analyst for this conversation. We are also expecting Melvin Tijan Mansari as well to be part of the conversation. Lawyer AKK, good morning and welcome to the program.
It's a pleasure being here. Good morning, Emmanuel, as usual. It's a pleasure being here to discuss and review our local tabloids.
It seems you've been viral right now, considering Natasha Beckley's case. How have you been doing with that case as a lawyer? I understand you are, of course, the advocate for her.
Yes, I do. It's ongoing. Investigation is ongoing. We were at the CID yesterday, the Criminal Investigation Headquarters. My client is cooperative. She is very ready to help the police to investigate into the nitty-gritties of the allegation. And we are very, very cooperative, that I can say. She has been admitted to bail. She met all the bail conditions that were made available or that were requested of us. And she's on bail. And we are cooperative.
Very quickly before we start reviewing the papers, what does the law say in the CPA Act when it comes to bail? The new CPA Act now, the Criminal Procedure Act.
It's still the same thing. Bail is not still a matter.
Is it still discretionary?
Well, for now, the CPA has to some extent taken a step further to making it very, very accessible and as a matter of right. Hence, it is not something that borders or hinges on serious or felonious offenses or economic offenses or offenses that are of very serious nature. I see, whatever it is, bail is again still a matter of discretion. It's condition dependent on the matter or the seriousness of the matter. But however, we are grateful to the police for the show of professionalism yesterday. I will tell you with all sincerity there too, that the way the police were able to handle the issue yesterday was of a professional class. It was
so it seems you are having a good day in court these days.
Yes.
Let's just look at some of the stories that we have here on the front pages of newspapers. For obvious reasons, we start with the AYV newspaper. It's going for 4 new loans. Grab a copy and let's make some money for the empire. On the front page, it says Housemate Salon Season 4 starts on October. Then, of course, Bamwe Fabulous Hotels to accommodate international housemates. Nearly 100% of the 8 resolutions are done. Sierra Leone's Chief Minister assures. All these stories you can get from the AYV newspaper. From there, we'll move on to the Night Watch. On the front page, it says, Diplomatic passports in drug dealers' hands. Salon name don't spoil again. Of course, you can see the face of His Excellency the President, Julius Maada Bio, of course, drug law lord, Jos Leidekkers, and of course, Abdullah. And of course, on this front page, it also says, at 2025 Customer Service Week, NATCA Director General notes the vitality of technology and affirms the importance of professionalism in customer care. All these stories you can get from the Night Watch newspaper. From there, move on to our on the front page. It says, join the conversation. What type of political system suits Sierra Leone? The ethics of the fathers, rediscovering the soul of leadership. Sludge condemns threats against journalist Amadou Lamana Ba. IMF Executive Director comments Sierra Leone's reform drive and economic stability efforts. Sierra Leone advances on 3 IMF programs, targets December board review. All these stories you can get from our newspaper. From there, we'll move on to Provincial Time newspaper. On the front page, it says VP Jude Security Chief Molist McKinney mayor, Sludge condemns threat against Lamrana Bar. FTL presents 40 million loans university scholarship to 59 students in MOA WAF and Seaside community. Kwanadugo Falaba stakeholders to engage President Bio on terrible state of McKinney Kabbalah Highway. All these stories you can get from the provincial newspaper. From there, I'll move on to the Independent Observer. On the front page, it says Sierra Leone, a disappointing nation at 64. All stories inside page. All these you can get from the Independent Observer newspaper. PSC Secretary highlights strategic role at EPL Fellows induction. Mr. President, can we talk? Part 260. All these stories you can get from the Independent Observer newspaper. From there, we'll move on to the Exclusive newspaper. On the front page, it says, on bail amid drug investigation, Natasha Beckley walks free and her lawyer is here. I want to unite Salone, Dr. Ibrahim Bangura assures. Okay, this one is Death Trap. FBC cries. On the way, visionary leadership. Salone soars to top 10 in global mining index. All these stories you can get from the Exclusive newspaper. The Equality Now newspaper says, oh, won't Konowe. I don't this one. The Kanda Yom Keller catches warning eyes. A Greek ministry inducts new accounting recruits. A message from the National Communications Authority. Oh, won't gone away. Maybe that can be in Termine. 2026 census cartographic mapping commences. SLPHA dismisses false social media claims. Speaker fronts at talks of rational 10 years for political parties. All these stories you can get from this newspaper. From there, move on to Satellite. On the front page, it says, as Feed Salone delivers result, rice importation to drop by 75%. CEO of Jamche Farming Company, VP Jude Chalo, opens regional conference on land rights. All these stories you can get from the Satellite newspaper. Global Times is saying KKY and Nuni at daggers drawn. VP Jude Chalo says Sierra Leone has made progress in land governance. Appeal court judge sentences Nuruddin for migrant smuggling. All these stories you can get from Global Times. The last we can take is from the Heritage newspaper. On the front page, it says SLPP New Jersey executive to be inaugurated. Confirm presidential Central University from partnership. Heroes welcome for First Lady in McKinney. All these stories you can get from the Heritage. Gentlemen, very interesting here. I want us to start with a very interesting story, of course, from Night Watch newspaper. It says Salone named Dom Poel again. Diplomatic passports in drug dealers' hand. This can be very harsh, but based on the content of the newspaper, it says, are we in Kush epidemic? Have we been serious about Kush so far? All these questions are asked in this newspaper. And then, of course, there are several allegations on the Don Vito connection case, a case that exposes the roots, the capture of Abdullah with another passport. And it's not just about him, of course, the Yos Laideka's case as well, Omar Sharif, among others. So we can start the conversation, first of all, from diplomatic passports on drug dealers. This is just an allegation here from this newspaper. But these stories are coming up. Is it not really thwarting the image of our beloved country, Sierra Leone? And how do we fix it? Is it that there is a challenge here with the passport issue? it seems as if it is very easy to have Sierra Leonean passport. There is a missing link, Melvin.
Thank you very much. I think the missing
welcome.
link...
Let me just welcome you.
It's always a pleasure to be on front page.
Okay.
I think the missing link is not something new, but it cannot be unconnected to systemic failures. And systemic in a sense, this is not just about this government, but previous governments. And I think the most recent news about...
Okay. I think, Melvin, they have to adjust your mic. Why is the technical team will come very soon to adjust your mic? Of course, Lawyer Abdul Karim, you had from Melvin, but you had the question very keenly. Let's come to passport issue. How can we really fix this problem? It seems as if there are challenges here of Sierra Leonean passport. It's very easy to get as compared to other countries. These are what people are saying.
This is a very, very, very sensitive issue, and we must address as Sierra Leoneans devoid politics. For me, I always say this, and people who know me can affirm same. For me, politics is about integrity, it's about sincerity of purpose, it's about you coming to serve. I believe in the principle of servant leadership. The issue of our passports now in the hands of people who are not Sierra Leoneans but carry Sierra Leonean passport is now becoming worrisome. And it's worrisome because our passport has different layers. We have the ordinary passport, which I carry, Abdul Karim Kamara. We have other category of passport, which is called like service passports. And then we have another category of passport that is called the diplomatic passports. And for each of these categories, I think there are thresholds before you can be a holder of those categories of passports. And here comes in a very, very senior cadre in those areas I've highlighted. And specifically, I will zero on the area of the diplomatic passports. You and I know that the diplomatic passport, I cannot just walk to immigration today and apply that I want to become a diplomat and it's issued to me. It's not like that. For you to be issued a diplomatic passport, the orders has to come from State House. And so, when these things happen, we turn all our eyes.
So how did Yoslai Dekas, for example, had his own passport? Of course, the name is Umar Sharif, but there is a confirmation here that he had a Sierra Leonean passport. How was the passport given to him in the very first place? And now we are even talking about another drug law by the name of Abdullah.
That's exactly what I was trying to zero on. That for these categories of passports, those passports have to come from the highest house in the land. And this is the questions we must ask. That is why when I started off, I said, let us dissociate ourselves from politics.
Why should we not blame the institutions? Or do you want to cast the blame on the man himself at the front line, the president?
Except, Mr. Momo, if you're not following me. My analysis is very systematic.
You spoke about the responsibility. For example, you spoke about the fact that somebody at the helm of authority, but I'm looking at it from the institution itself. Is it not because we have, let's say, weak institution, or should we really cast the blame on the man at the leadership? Is there not a problem with our weak institutions?
This is my humble opinion, and I take full responsibility of it. If I'm asked as to placing the burden of responsibility when it comes to the issuance of diplomatic passports, I will completely exonerate the institution that is the immigration of Sierra Leone, because I repeat, had it been ordinary citizenship passports, the institution is held liable, because you don't need external forces or influence for such passport to be issued out to somebody. But however, when it comes now to the second cadre I was discussing, which was the service passport and the ultimate diplomatic passports, you need to have instructions from the above. And don't forget, these people working there are people who take instructions from the above. So the question you and I and all Sierra Leoneans will ask is, how did our diplomatic passport land in the hands of drug lords?
So
this is the 1 million
it's
question.
from orders from above.
I am suggesting that. I am alleging so.
No, but from the question that you've asked, that's why I'm asking.
That is the question we are asking as Sierra Leoneans.
So it seems you are really speculating, or it's a confirmation that this may be coming from orders from above.
It's an organized system. That's my argument. Listen to the premises I laid. That had it been the ordinary citizenship passport or the ordinary passport that is issued out to people, Sierra Leoneans, for which I carry one, you don't need the powers from above. You go and pay the requisite fee of $100 United States dollars or its equivalent. You are made available passport.
Melvin, there is a statement here from this newspaper. Let me just come to Melvin. Let Melvin have his own bite. There is a statement here from this newspaper. It says, under President Julius Maada Bio's leadership, the issue of diplomatic passports abuse has reached a dangerous height. The fact that a foreign national with deep links to organized crime could hold such a document raises fundamental questions about the integrity of the process and the role of the presidency itself. We may not really want to go with the view of the newspaper hook, line, and sinker, but then there are also stories. Of course, we have that confirmation. Stories of drug lords, for example, like yours, like Dekas, having our own passport, Sierra Leoneans. And now there is also an allegation here of Abdullah as well, who is also in possession of Sierra Leonean passport, allegedly. How do we fix these problems, Melvin?
Because they are systemic, they need system review and overhauling. They are systemic. I will agree with one of the submissions that this is becoming unbecoming. But that does not mean it's only happening now. In 2018, we all know about the ACC indictment of a certain immigration boss over allegations of similar nature, issuance of diplomatic passports.
Was ACC investigating that story about him?
They came out with their position on that. In fact, that matter was charged. The case of Khalifa, I mean, that matter was advanced. So, I mean, let me just land. The issue of the management of our passport is among one of the reasons that we are in fact bad under the guise of overstay when it comes to the US decision on the travel ban of some countries. So this has been there. But I will agree with some schools of thought that the impunity nature and the way our leads have been disconnected or discarded for me is alarming under this administration. But when it comes to the passports, you cannot just blame this administration. It has been there way back. Go and read the reports. Several reports are saying it has been systemic. However, it won't be too prudent, as AKK is saying, to look at it from just a political lens. Why? Because there is an economic aspect to it, which we many times overlook, which is the fact that we are not in charge of the production of our passports, be they diplomatic or ordinary or service passports. That's a nuanced fact that we are overlooking. Why? Because it's easy to blame a government, be they green or red. However, have we taken the time to look at how protective is the nature of the agreement between the Immigrations Department and, for example, Thomas de la Rue, who prints and supplies his passport to the Immigration Department? So, have we asked, who audits, what's the independent oversight on de la Rue as to what they print,
But what
and
about,
what they supply.
what about systemic corruption? Do we have systemic
That can be
corruption issues?
those are the superficial issues. If you want to look at it on the ordinary side of things, but the fact that you cannot produce your passport makes it vulnerable to all vulnerabilities.
So how do we fix that problem?
We must be able to be in that position to begin to produce our own passports, ordinary or diplomatic. That's the long-term solution. But for the fact that now somebody the print Europe ways and take a subsidiary elsewhere in the Middle East or the Cayman Islands, it's exposed to organized crime.
Have we really been able to solve issues of corruption, irregularities in that particular institution? For example, here is a very relevant comment here from Embraces Jonathan Kanu. He says, the former immigration boss must be called to book because there's videos of him and the drug lord. I mean, I cannot really justify that, but this is what he's saying here. But let's look at ACC. What is ACC doing to deep dive into issues of corruption, irregularities in that institution, among other things?
There are precedents for which I think the ACC has managed to come forward with attempts to prosecute, or as to whether they've secured conviction. That's a question for another day. But we'll be short-sighted, Emmanuel Nyake, if we only blame immigration or De La Rue or ACC. What about the ministry that recommends for the issuance of these passports? That is the Foreign Affairs Ministry. We are not turning our lens over to them. Why? Because, like AKK said, I agree with him. For ordinary passport, it's just business as usual. You go through the process. But for you to be issued with a diplomatic passport, it takes internal government bureaucratic processes upon letters and recommendations, and for you to arrive at that. So, I mean, there is no way you can excuse the Foreign Affairs Ministry or the immigration or other players like nobody's talking about the producers of the passport, Thomas De La Rue themselves, to come up and tell us how secure is our passport, because this is not new. Unfortunately, it's coming to the limelight on a negative light because it's conjoined with not only illicit handling of passports, but illicit drug and organized crime. So it compounds the problem.
You've said here that the problem is systemic. But how do we solve it? Do you see any prospect of solving this problem?
I profiled an opinion earlier on that you need a systems review, and based on what's reviewed, you overhaul the system.
But we've been saying about system review for far too long.
There's always been a change of uniform at immigration, or perhaps new directorate at the Foreign Relations Ministry or something of the sort. When I talk about change or overhaul, I'm talking about the fundamentals. Firstly, how do we get our passports? How do we nationalize the production of our passports? How a country as big or small as ours, as rich as ours, we cannot be in a position to produce our passports. That is the biggest vulnerability. Don't forget about politics, don't forget about any other thing. But once to be the producer, that is a minus.
AKK, how do we solve this problem of passport? Have you seen any prospects so far?
I've said it earlier on in my introductory. I said, let us dissociate from politics and let us ask the necessary questions. For me, when I talk from an informed point of view. I've done an extensive research into the Ministry of Internal Affairs, to which the Immigration Department is attached to. And I want to say this categorically clear, that the issuance of passport in this country has bureaucracies. And I stand by that.
Has there been really any independent investigation?
Can I land? You see, when a lawyer talks, he prepares premises.
I understand, but
Fine.
we're also speaking to a journalist.
Yes.
And then we have to hit the issues.
I have to be held accountable for my statements, and I take complete responsibility of saying. Because I have said that indeed issuance of passports as the Sierra Leone Immigration Department is bureaucratic, I have equally tried to simplify same. What do I mean? I said, when it comes to the issuance of ordinary passports, had there been any challenges with it, I will squarely rest the burden of proving innocence on the institution in question, that is Immigration Department. But when it goes further to graduating from an ordinary passport to 2 service passports and 3 diplomatic passports, I will to some extent hold it there and ask the necessary question: who approves? Who makes the recommendations? From where is these approvals coming? From where these endorsements are coming to authorize the Immigration Department to produce a passport for that particular person? Don't forget, for you to be made a diplomat, you have to go through the executive authority, and that comes in the president. He has to usher you in as a diplomat, and that qualifies you to be a diplomatic.
This program should have a dissenting conversation to also profile solution. So this is the reason I'm also asking.
That is where I am
do
now.
you think there is a need for independent investigation so far on this passport issue?
So
has it been initiated, or how can we initiate it? If not,
my approach to this is depoliticize the issue of this passport issue. Don't look at it from the APC or SAPP lens, that it has happened in the APC, so it is again happening now, so it's like business as usual. No. Let us give it a Sierra Leonean face and look at the pros and cons of what is happening. When it is now devastating than any other time before, let us see it as a serious emergency issue and address it by asking the necessary questions. 1, because you never address conflict if you fail to address the root causes of conflict. And how can we address this problem? Is by asking first the necessary questions, and then when these questions are answered, then we will know where the problem is and they will start solving it. i.e., who gives the orders, the authority for someone to be issued a diplomatic passport? When we ask these questions, and if these orders are given, by whom? Who endorses it? Who produces it? As Melvin rightly said, when it now comes to the final approval, there comes out Thomas de la Rue to produce the passport. And then Thomas de la Rue will tell you, yes, I only have a duty to produce. So it can even be Peter Paul Johnny. Hence his name has been sent to the production house. He needs not to do any further probing. He only has a responsibility of producing the passport as required of him.
Melvin,
so you see, we start asking these questions and they will provide solutions.
Melvin, are we correct to say that until an independent investigation is done, we cannot really get a solution to this? Because sometimes, even for the police, we have gotten several allegations of brutality, among other things, from the Sierra Leone police. But then it's very difficult for the police to police itself or to investigate itself. So how can we really solve this problem? Are we saying here that until an independent investigation is done, this problem of passports, it will be very daunting for us to solve it? It's just a question, not an opinion from me.
The judiciary should be more stringent. We had an opportunity to set a stringent precedent in 2018 when this cartel, I'm just watching a 2018 report, September 14, 2018, cartel of Sierra Leone officials ran passport scam for US visas and anti-grav. This was the biggest passport case we had. And that was the moment we should have used to set a deterrent to others. But if some of those people are still roaming freely, some of them I don't want to name because they might slam me for whatever reasons. But I'll tell you, it's glaring. And where I will take a slight departure from AKK is the fact that we cannot ignore where it started. Because for now, by the way, let me just say,
where did it start?
It is a long run case. I am giving you a case study of 2018 with Khalifa and 9 others as indicted. So we'll come back and review and ask, was the ACC able to secure conviction in those cases? And if not, why did they not? Because this was a glaring case of the US Embassy.
Compromise, yeah.
Compromise in what sense?
Should we attach it to compromise?
No, when it comes to the judiciary is so complex, they will tell you that the threshold of evidence. All right, and we've had arguments back and forth as to the high standards for which convictions can be secured in those
It
cases.
has to be beyond all reasonable doubts.
I don't know if there's anything. I don't know if anything in life that is beyond all reasonable. That is for you legal thinkers, but from a philosophical perspective, I don't think there's anything in life that is beyond all reasonable considerations. But let me just speak to the fact. The fact remains, if we had this opportunity, and some of these people were indicted by the ACC, and many of them are roaming free, you come to beg the question, two fundamental questions. By the way, as a Sierra Leonean-born journalist, those international media outlets, as paraphrased or cited or referenced by Dr. Sylvia Blyden and others, credible sources that I will go to, they have not adduced any evidence, I will repeat, they have not adduced any evidence showing that these people hold a diplomatic passport. Unlike in the case of 2018, when it was a glaring show assisted by the United States Embassy, it was very clear.
Is that not a weakness on the investigation so far?
A weakness on the part of the international media first. And that's why we should be very meticulous. We are not going to discard it because we already have an example or a precedent. But what we are saying, if I were to speak for the government, they should be also charged on their part to provide evidence that this is the case. However, what is very, very clear is the nexus of personalities. I will not belabor the point on Bole and this new guy and all that and what the media is saying. The fact there remains, we must be more serious in the managing of our passport, because there are Sierra Leoneans who are deprived of scholarship and other opportunities to go to the US today because of poor handling and management of our passports.
Gentlemen, I want us to look at the rippling effect of this. Is this the reason we have an emergence of Kush substance abuse, for instance? Because, of course, there are allegations here of drug lords, so to speak, having our passports. How can we connect the possession of our passports in the hands of these drug lords to what is happening now in the country, the emergence of the Kush substance?
What I started to reason with Melvin in the studio is like he's fastly becoming the spokesperson of the SLPP.
No, I think he's just giving his position.
Let me just say, let me just lay this bare.
I was able to look at all sides.
Please let me come. I am very, very much tacit when I'm talking. It's not a matter of saying these people did it yesterday, and so if I do it today, I'll justify why I'm doing it today. Don't forget, governments day in, day out are voted based on their promises to the electorate. And you tell the others, say, what the APC has done is abysmal. They are not fit for purpose. When we come, we will do things different, which will be to the advantage of Sierra Leoneans. But when you come, you resort to even doing worse than what the APC did. And Melvin is seated here, a seasoned journalist, drawing nexus to the past and the present and justifying why it is happening now. It becomes ridiculous. Let me come.
Is it not rational for him to look at how systemic is a problem?
I never knew you were coming to say. Had the topic been, let us compare and contrast the issue of passport saga in the APC as compared to the SLPP, now that would have been a very good subject of discussion. But this is completely different.
But he has to present
the discourse is different.
So that's enough.
We are not here to compare and contrast the APC then and the SLPP now with regards to passport
So is that a non-starter for you?
It's a non-starter.
But he is looking at.
We are now here addressing the problems of today and forging a better future.
But how can you address the problem if you don't find out whether it's systemic or not?
Then it begins to beg the question that when you invite us here on a topic, you try to draw the curtain different from what exactly we're here to do.
But it's not about AYV, it's about Melvin's point here.
That is why I was not addressing AYV, I was addressing Melvin as an individual.
Okay.
And I said he's fastly becoming the spokesperson of the SLPP, save for the fact that I know him to be a journalist, a very, very independent person. But from the past 2-3 weeks,
can you talk about the issues instead of attacking the personality?
I am not attacking his personality. He knows me very well. He knows I'm a very, very much frank speaker.
I just want to remind you, let's stick to the issue.
Yes. Fast forward. It has a devastating effect this issue of Sierra Leonean passports being in the custody of people who are non-Sierra Leoneans, and worst of it all, they are alleged to be drug lords. Significantly and most importantly is that Jos Leidekers, as alleged, is in Sierra Leone, and he is enjoying his stay in Sierra Leone, I would safely say so, to the extent that the Dutch government has served the government of Sierra Leone extradition papers, confirmed by our Attorney General, that they are doing the needful, that extradition is not like anything you can do over the counter. It has due diligence of the law. And continue saying, Don Vito, who again has been intersected by Interpol red notice, he is alleged that he holds a Sierra Leonean passport and he is connected to Jos Leidekers.
But Melvin is...
Are you beginning to see the nexus? How devastating is that to Sierra Leone?
Of these drug issues, Melvin is saying that
I have
it is
not
not just
landed.
now that it has started.
I have not
Even in
landed.
the days of APC as well.
I will not go into that.
There are issues.
I'm not here to
Wrong.
compare and contrast.
I
Melvin
understand
knows
about
that
even
as
the
a
Minister of
philosopher.
Transport.
No, I am not here to...
As a locus,
There will have been a discussion for a different day to compare and contrast. They will come with evidence.
But that was what he was trying to do.
But you cannot come and take me off tangent, for which that again is a mission impossible. That the height at which passport scandal is now in Sierra Leone, it has ever happened in Sierra Leone since the days of independence.
Let's look at the
It is now prevalent. It's now worrisome. It is now devastating. It is now retrogressing. It is in fact nicknaming Sierra Leone in a very, very bad state of affairs.
How can we describe the Kush drug abuse? Can we call it Kushdemic? Has it got to that level?
I think it's not a pandemic, to be honest.
So what is the APC doing to solve most of these problems?
Recently you saw
what is your swift response?
Yes, we have engaged with governments. We have partnered with governments to support the declaration of the emergency health, and is it the public health emergency that was declared by the president? We supported holistically. We have embarked on serious advocacy campaigns to the extent that even last week, you see one of the flag bearers of the APC, aspiring flag bearers of the APC, Honorable Joseph Gerard Kamara, holding a very big meeting in Makeni, engaging people, telling them the disadvantages of this Kush, how it is ravaging our young population, our youthful population, which has a devastating effect in the future, that there will come a time in Sierra Leone, people within the ages of 18 to 25 or 30 years will be hard to find. If you see the level of people, corpses that are carried on a daily basis across the nation, you toss your hands on your head and cry. And realize that indeed this situation is pathetic.
Have you really done enough as an opposition? Because one may say that the problem is still there amidst the effort that you guys are doing at the moment.
Yes.
What you have spoken.
Remember, Nyaki, I told you that you cannot address conflict if you fail to address the root cause of conflict. In as much as the APC is hell-bent on making sure that we mount serious advocacy.
Are you also looking at the root cause? Or maybe you are
That's where I'm coming. That's where I'm coming. In as much as...
Can you confirm, Council, that the problem is still there?
That is where I'm coming, Mr. Momo. That in as much as the APC is hell-bent on making sure that we mount serious and rigorous advocacy campaigns against Kush, but however, we need to know who exactly imports Kush, where is these drugs, these synthetic drugs are manufactured, who are these people who are involved in this drug chain.
Have you done that?
That is what we are asking the questions now. That's why we're asking the questions. Recently, you see...
It's not about asking the questions. Is it something that the APC has done?
Even when we're asking the questions and the people are brought to book, what is done with regards to them? Recently, you and I know that the ambassador to Guinea, attached to Guinea, was intercepted in one of the Interpols with substances alleged to be drugs. What has happened out of it? Nothing. Nothing. So many things are happening. People, and here is a journalist, he cannot draw nexuses to that. But he can be seated there conveniently to say, no, in the days of the APC in 2018, there was a glaring passport saga. So if it is happening now, yes, there is a justification that this started way back it's systemic. No, we're not here for that.
Mervyn,
We're not here for that.
You can have your bite on this. Why have you decided to look at this issue as very systemic? Going back to history, AKK is saying that that step cannot be rational.
It's not. Maybe happens to be my brother, he knows that.
I will refrain from any diversion from the issue.
This is not diversion.
my counsel is coming premeditated, and his rendition has expressed that. So I should be the same guy that
So let's stick to the issue. Are we in epidemic?
It's part of the issues. I mean, we could have if council's mayor. You know, I want to be refrained, but I cannot hold it. But I mean, first, let me just establish. I mean, I have great respect for lawyer AKK. I mean, we've discussed, we've always bantered, and like he said, I'm an independent journalist, but he contradicted himself by saying of late, I'm becoming the spokesperson for the SME for the last 2 weeks. I don't know on what specific issues, but I know where it's coming from. I have no interest, let me just say this before going to the point, this is not a digression at all, no interest in holding a brief for the government or SLPP or nor the opposition. If that interest represent the people, I think I will toe that line. And so on this subject matter, the reason for my referencing, of course, I know you are coming from a political lens. You might deem it as, oh, Melvin is throwing the normal rhetoric. Whenever APC wants to raise the flag, SLP will say, oh, now so let's be done.
Correct.
But for me, as a social thinker and a centrist, I think it's important sometimes to go to context and background and history. Because fine thinkers have always argued, if you don't know where you're coming from, you will not know where you're going. The nature of this scandal was the biggest, because this is a situation wherein a former ambassador to the United Nations was indicted. I mean, the whole network was bust. And again, why it's important? It's important because though these Middle Eastern media, they've not corroborated their assertion as to, or the European media have not corroborated with evidence. The fact remains, what if perhaps this man that is claimed to be holding a Sierra Leone passport was issued this passport before now? Again, AKK might see me, might see this as
so it's not defending the SFP. The investigation will start saying the passport was given to way back 2012.
No.
Is that what you're
I am saying? The essence of the context and referencing that goes to what I used earlier on to describe the problem as systemic. I will not venture in blaming that blame game,
please. I mean, we've spoken a lot.
Okay, we're done with the passport.
Yes, let's look at the Kush problem. Can we also say that it's systemic? Remember, there has been an intervention from the president. In fact, he has even made a declaration about it. Are we really serious about taking this issue as an emergency issue?
I think I don't need to repeat myself. All what the president said, I think in June last year, seemingly is ineffective. He announced a task force. What's the latest about that task force? He announced a supervising committee for that task force. What have they been doing? Where is their report for the last 1 year? The president promised that no stone will be left unturned, and they will go to the bottom of it. No sacred cows. But seemingly, if you look at the trend, it's speaking in contrast. So for me, I think there's need for more political commitment, and not just with policy statement, but policy action. In Sierra Leone, for example, the opposition is dwelling in political statement.
Are they taking it as a political fight or a national fight?
Who?
The opposition.
I think the opposition is struggling to have a position on the Kush problem. They are struggling in a sense. The mayor could have done better. She could have scored the biggest political goal on Kush. But she also
is giving us a data.
No. You see, that's where AKK and others on the green side will not like me. Because when politicians give you figure, it's like George Orwell. It tells you 2 + 2 = 5. You know what that means? Deception.
Is that not factual?
The mayor's figure, as worrisome they may be, as serious they are, the mayor did not do her homework well. Why can they say maybe late for shout? So shout to we emphasize out emphasis. 1, mayor, we go reading statements. He use one big English. It's anecdotically believed to be the death of Kush. So what the mayor tell me, well, that big English you use?
in big English, which I'm not intimidated by at all. Now that it's we say, free transit the council, let's say they bury that man there, they never do test on waiting kill.
Was there a post-mortem?
No, mayor statements in that are on that. That we don't waiting kill them, but you will bury the people.
Or maybe a pathologist
was
involved.
No, mayor is saying anecdotically, if there was a pathologist involved, she should have been emphatic. So that's the point. Mayor gets a good point on the numbers because those are actual numbers. I don't think she can cook it up or like somebody alleged the other day that say, oh, she faked some certain things. That is not the case. The issue here is she could have been more empirical and clinical with the fact to expose the government because her statement was exposing ineptitude on the side of the SLP. But she was not thorough enough in telling us that emphatically, the people are over 200 for 1 month. Now, Kush kill them. If I wait to tell you in reverse logic, is that we don't go bury them, they say that Kush kill them, but we don't know.
AKK.
And who does that?
AKK, very quickly, we are running off. How do you see this fight? Of course, the APC, are you really taking this fight as a national fight or political fight? Because you guys are in opposition. How are you collaborating with government to solve this problem?
We see this issue as a national fight. It's not a political fight.
What are the steps that you've taken?
And don't forget, when Melvin was talking, I can see exactly it's not really to fail with the facts. I am not holding a brief for the city council, but I would challenge Melvin to the greatest extent. He's a researcher that the city council is stagnated with resources, funding. To the extent that let me come.
What do you mean by stagnation?
He knows that.
He's saying he has an issue.
Please let me come.
The research that the mayor has done about the dead bodies.
Oh my goodness, Nyake.
But you do
all over the world. No, I'm not angry to be honest.
Do you want me to be intimidated?
No, I am not. Let us make the conversation educative. When you ask a question, you allow the person to respond. Viewers will listen and understand.
But I also have to guide the conversation.
You and I know, and inclusive, Melvin, that research is one of the most cost-intensive projects in the world. Go to America, the research institutes. These are where people pour money to research. And so therefore, if the council is stagnated financially, let us say, I am not really speaking for on behalf of the council, but imagine the mayor had wanted to have the services of Dr. Uis. It's not going to be done on pro bono. Those services has to be hired. Or the line ministry supporting him.
They should do it.
But now, let me come.
What was that?
That is where I'm coming. That is where I'm coming. We all know recently the saga between the CA and the chief and the mayor. When the mayor wants to go this way, the CA goes this way. You know the divide and rule that is happening in the city council. So when Melvin was making this losing statement, I start to reason that you cannot be talking so.
It's unfortunate it's coming from a lawyer. If you read the Local Government Act of 2004, it says developmental activities of council are contingent upon the availability of resources. And here comes, let me just give you this short. Let me give you this short.
Beautiful.
This is your council, a council run by your party.
We don't have our party. It's not our party.
Your party.
It's not the only party that is there.
No, your party is in charge.
No.
She has her own parallel administration within the government.
No, Melvin. Many thanks to the technical team. I've been your host, Emmanuel Nyake.